Hi BookTube, this is Johnny. I am using my newest camera. The last time I made that video, I was using my wife's old camera that she bought a long time ago. A little tiny little Canon kind of. All the cameras that I buy are usually Canons. This is the camera I bought before this one right here. I make videos on this one, but I'm using my newest Canon. I bought it in August last year for my birthday. I usually buy myself cameras for my birthday, but I upgraded from this one to this one that I'm filming with. And after this one, there is no more upgrades unless I want to spend $2,000 and buy all kinds of lenses, but I'm not going to do that. So I have not made a video in a couple of days, so I thought I'd make a video because I don't want to lose my vast audience out there who are just waiting for me to make a video. Right now, I'm around 965 subscribers. I had 966 this morning, so someone split the scene this evening. You know, I'm always kind of curious why people leave and why people stay. Now, I know from comments there's some of you out there who watch my videos regularly. I mean, I got an email today from somebody who wrote me. He asked me some questions. He says, I very much enjoy your atmospheric and deeply ruminative YouTube BookTube videos about your reading, your daily thoughts, and your ongoing spiritual journey. So there's some people out there who enjoy these videos, even though I try to be as spontaneous as possible, and sometimes I miserably fail. But I don't edit because I don't, it's kind of like I make my videos like we're sitting down at a cafe and we're having coffee or a mocha or a cup of tea, and we're just having some just talking about books and about life and about suffering and pain and about good times and bad times, ups and downs, stormy clouds and sunshine. So anyway, this is a Friday, so you might call this a Friday Reads. I'm going to take a little sip here. So what have I been reading? Well, let's get my diary out of the way. Now, you know, on the 16th, I go to the second. The first one is from the 1st of the month to the 15th of the month, and then when it comes to the 16th of the month, I start a second folder. So today, I ended on page 204 for the year 2018. For those who don't know, today is March the 16th, 2018 is 8:05 here in West Michigan. Today it was 30 degrees outside, but it was cloudy and sunny. Next week we have spring, but like I always say here in Michigan, it doesn't get warm until sometime in May. And we're already halfway through the month of March. So tomorrow is March the 17th, 2018. It'll be a Saturday. So in the mornings, the last couple of mornings, I have been reading for devotions, Echoes of Exodus, Tracing a Biblical Motif by Bryan T. Estelle. I was going to read this because I was thinking before I made this, make this video, that what I would read to me is kind of like intellectual, spiritual prose. I've read what I've read in this book thus far. I've read it in many books. This fellow teaches at Westminster Seminary in California, which is a conservative Calvinistic seminary, and most of the professors kind of say the same things and write the same things. It's a certain school of theology, hermeneutics, eschatology, biblical theology, New Testament theology, and they kind of just repeat themselves. If you read this book, he quotes from all the Orthodox, Calvinistic, biblical theologians like Horace Voss and John Murray, Meredith Kline, people like that. He does quote some other scholars outside of the Reformed theological camp, but it's still a good book if you're not this material of the Exodus motif being a major motif from Genesis to Revelations. It's a good book. Today is Friday, and I volunteered at the Library Used Bookstore here in town. The library here in town is called the Hendrick District Public Library, and they have on the lower level a cafe, a big auditorium. They have a meeting place for people in the community to meet, and they have tables and stalls where people sit and write and socialize, and they have a cafe down there, and they have a used bookstore, and there's offices down there, library offices. And I volunteer at the Library Used Bookstore, the Book Nook, on Mondays 10 to 1 and on Fridays 10 to 1. And this morning I read today the book that I've mentioned as my to be read for the month of March, The Invented Part by Rodrigo Fresan. This is translated from the Spanish by Will Vanderhyden. I've read 211 pages. It's kind of like, it's way out there. I mean, it's kind of hard to describe what the book's about, but I'm still reading it, which means it's worth reading. I also been reading The Royal Family by William T. Vollmann. I decided when I started reading this, somebody saw me at the Book Nook reading this last Monday, and they asked me, well, how are you enjoying reading this book? And I said, I've been reading this book for 10 years. And that's true. I'll read this book, and then I'll just put it down in my Vollmann collection. And then I'll get it back up, and I'll start reading where I stopped. And then I decided that I would start at the beginning again. You might call it a reread. So I started rereading it. But when I stopped reading it, I was in the middle. I was on page 505. And the book is 780 pages. So I started on the beginning of the book, the novel, and I'm on page 11. So what else? I'm still reading. I still have on my desk. I have not read it. For those who are into N.T. Wright, I still am reading Paul, a biography, just not lately. There's a reason, is that I want to make a video on this book where I'm at, and I don't want to get any more into the book until I make that video, and I don't know when I'm going to make that video because I don't know how to get my crap together in my brain. For those who watch my videos know that I collect Bibles. I got a Bible today, free. This is a Holy Bible, Red Letter Reference Concordance. This is a Revised Standard Version. For those who watch my videos know that I use a King James and New King James, which I have right here. See, I have these Bibles here, and these are all, this is New King James, This is King James, and this is New King James, and this is a Revised Standard, which is, I don't know, when I first became a Christian back in 1970 in Richmond, California, I used a Revised Standard Bible that my grandfather had given me. My grandfather had given me 2 Bibles when I was a boy. One was a King James and one was a Revised Standard. And when the Lord saved me in 1970, that's the one I used. And I think I've shown it in past videos. It's stuffed full of Jesus, people stuff, you know, tracts. And I used to underline it. I never underline Bibles anymore. I stopped that years and years and years ago. But I got this nice Revised Standard as the Bible. As far as I've picked up these used books recently. I got recently Genet, a biography by Edmund Wright. Genet was a contemporary with Sartre and he wrote a very famous book, Our Lady of the Flowers. He wrote plays. He was, says here, bastard, thief, prostitute, jailbird. Jean Genet was one of the French literature's sacred monsters. In works from Our Lady of the Flowers to the screens, he created a scandalous personal mythology while ensavaging the conventions of his society. His career was a series of calculated shocks marked by feuds, rootlessness, and the embrace of unpopular causes and outcast peoples. Now this most enigmatic of writers has found his ideal biographer in novelist Edmund Wright, whose elegant and often potent chronicle does justice to the unruly narrative of Genet's life, even as it maps the various worlds in which he lived and the perverse landscape of his imagination. So this is a biography by Edmund Wright, winner of the National Book Critics Circle Award. I also picked up 2 other books by Edmund Wright. This is a novel, Nocturnes for the King of Naples, by Edmund Wright. And this is one of his most popular novels, A Boy's Own Story. It says back here, the New York Times Book Review, quote, Edmund Wright has crossed J.D. Salinger with Oscar Wilde to create an extraordinary novel. I collect Edmund Wright. I have for many years, and if I see his work somewhere, I buy them. I picked up a biography of a British writer, Madox Ford, by Alan Judd. He wrote the famous novel, The Good Soldier, which I read a couple of years ago. This is a biography of him. It's interesting, he wrote every day of his life, Madox Ford, wrote 82 books. Where do you find those in the bookstore today? Maybe in a thrift store. Maybe you'll find them at a good used bookstore, but I like to see all of his books. I'm going to look that up tonight, what he exactly wrote. And I picked up a biography on Marshal McLuhan, Medium and Messenger, by Philip Marchand. McLuhan is very famous for his book. Was it Medium is the Message, something like that? It was a book when I was really young. I came across this biography of Marshal McLuhan, The Medium and the Message, by Philip Marchand. And I found a William Burroughs. This is with William Burroughs, A Report from the Bunker, by Victor Bockris. These are like interviews of William Burroughs. And I found a book of collected poems of Langston Hughes, a very famous American poet. And this is James Crumley, the The Last Good Kiss. The tough, hard-boiled, brilliantly suspenseful The Last Good Kiss is an unforgettable detective story starring C.W. Hughes, a Montana investigator who kills time by working at a topless bar. Hired to track down a derelict author, he ends up on the trail of a girl missing in Haight-Ashbury for a decade. The tense hunt becomes obsessive as Sir Hughes takes a haunting journey through the underbelly of America's sleaziest nightmare. And then I picked up this book it's a book on the obscenity trials, and girls lean back everywhere, the law of obscenity and the assault on genius by Edward D. Grazia. It covers all these trials that, like on Henry Miller, Norman Mailer, Allen Ginsberg, William Burroughs, all these obscenity trials and what the verdicts were. I'm kind of interested in censorship and the whole history of censorship of literature. So those are the books I found recently at used bookstores and thrift stores. So what I'm reading, Friday Reads, tonight it's 8:18. I don't know exactly what I'll read. I've been reading this today, The Invented Part by Rodrigo Fresan. I'm really enjoying this. It's kind of spacey, but I'm kind of spacey myself, so that's it. I don't have anything coming in the mail, any books. I don't plan to go anywhere. Tomorrow's a Saturday. I am walking every day. If you go to my online diary, Crooked Fingers, you'll see I'm posting photos, because when I go out from my walks, I take photos if I'm out in nature. Not if I'm walking around our neighborhood, I don't. Who wants to see a picture of houses and streets and street lights and bushes, and you wouldn't want to see that. So yeah, that's about it here. I suppose I'll just sign off. I thank you for the comments. Thank you for those who've stayed and watched these videos. You know, it's not easy making videos for me because I know I'm so out of it. I don't have a clear speaking voice. I can't pronunciate names or titles. I can't pronunciate foreign language, Russian or French or Spanish or English or some tribe from Alaska. I get tongue-tied. But I do thank you for those who stay, who make comments. Thank you for emails. Just thank you for just your support. And I'll sign off and I'll download this before I go to bed tonight. And hope you have a good weekend. Till next time, bye.